Hi, and welcome to Tandy Jacobs Talk Show. On this show, we're going to be talking about the real life stories and situations that you may have gone through or someone else who you know. The stories are real. Everything is real. It may be a success, a predicament, a situation, a challenge that you may or may not have faced directly, but you know someone who did. And you would have had this conversation at a barbecue, chewing on some chicken, having a cucumber. It doesn't matter. But you had this conversation. Now, we want to have you come on our studio and we'll talk about just that. The guests are you and me. So ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to having you join me on Tandy Jacobs Talk Show. See you then. So I made a list, 2017, at the beginning of 2017. I made a list. And I had 10 things that I wanted to do, that I wanted to achieve, 10 goals. You know, and amongst those 10 goals, I think I only achieved about 2.
Right.
Which is a bit disappointing.
Right.
You know, and one of them was to travel to a lot of countries, and I did. I went to Morocco for my holiday, which was fantastic. I don't know whether pastors do lists as well.
Yeah, pastors are humans. They're human as well, so they also do lists. Or should I say, we also do lists. Okay. You know, however, from what you were saying, you know, you've only managed to achieve 2, so at least you achieved something. But what you will find is that you may not be the only one in that situation. There could be a lot of other people who are also in that situation where they set a lot of goals or New Year resolutions, as they are called, and then never actually realize them by the end of the year, where they're already getting ready for another set of New Year.
So at the end, we look at those that we did not achieve, and then we just take another book and we write again some New Year's resolutions for 2018 without having achieved the ones that we wanted to achieve in 2017 or the years that have gone before. What do we do then? How does one get to achieve that or to accomplish it?
Well, you then need to revisit some of the ones that you wanted to achieve but have not achieved. Because if you keep on just going on like that, you may not realize it, but you are in a cycle. When you come up with resolutions, they are not fulfilled, and yet you are not taking time to stop and just say, okay, why am I failing to achieve these goals that I've set?
Right.
Is it because I procrastinate? Is it because I don't sit down? And I like Jesus in the Bible. Allow me to use that example. It applies to anyone in life. He says, you know, where do you find a king who will go to war without having sat down first to count the cost? So in other words, you sit down first and you say, okay, what are we going to need? The personnel that we are going to need, the food that we are going to need, this, that, the weapons, the armory and everything. So you put all that together. It's not just the excitement of, yes, let's go, and you go. You know. But that's what a lot of people tend to do when it comes to New Year's resolution. People get excited about New Year. It's a new year. We've finished 1 year. Yes, let's go.
Let's go for it.
But sometimes that attitude takes you away from the reality of things that are not being done. So you need to just take stock. Okay, I'm getting to a new year now. I'm coming up with a set of new expectations. But the ones that I had this year, how many did I achieve? And the ones that I did not achieve, why could I not achieve them? But also you could look at the ones you achieved and say, so how did I manage to get that done? Because your answer could be right there. By looking at how you managed to get those done, you can then see that, you know what, I could actually have gotten the rest of them done.
Okay, so you talk about a king getting ready to go to war and getting his armor ready. And that includes the weapons. You talked about the men that will be there to fight. How does coming to reality, bringing that to reality, because we haven't got a war, but you talk about armor and men. How does one get people? Is that people on your side? People to support you? Can you elaborate, explain a little bit more about that?
Obviously,
get that.
Okay, so obviously you're going to need a team on your side. For example, if you've got kids, are they going with you on your holidays or not? If they're not going to go, you are going to need somewhere for them to stay. You're going to need someone to look after them because you don't want to be worrying about that. So who is going to take care of the kids? If the kids are coming with you, do we have the financial resources to cater for that? Because many people sometimes they want to go on these holidays, but then they want to take the kids with them. But because it's an added finance or financial responsibility that comes, they end up not going. So the other thing that maybe people need to look at is, okay, if I am not able to go to Morocco because we can't afford to all go, is there somewhere else where we can go? So you have still gone and you have achieved something. It may not be what you wanted to achieve exactly, however, you have managed to get something done. The issue is about getting things done.
Getting things done.
Yeah, so once you get into that idea and role of getting things done, it's then easier to meet those goals. However, what I would probably...
Give an example of someone who's got kids. Or someone who hasn't got kids. We're looking at a business that you want to set up, and you talked about people. You talked about connections. How does one get to have those around? Because if I was not able to achieve my targets or my goals for 2017, I'm getting into 2018 now. Do I just forgo that dream, that desire, that passion? What do I do? What does one do to be able to achieve it? And I haven't got kids.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying myself, but other people.
Yeah, you don't forgo it. You go for it. However, in today's world, actually, there's a lot of help you can get, especially online. You look at the kind of business you want to go into. Okay, you can go online, you can Google some of the things, you get help in finding out the kind of things you need. Or you look amongst your friends, your family, or the people you know, is there anybody who is an expert in that particular direction? If not, you can then ask them if they know anybody. If they can set up a meeting with somebody who will then begin to tell you the kind of things that you need or what you need to do. Or you can enroll on a very small course on how to manage that kind of thing or how to run that kind of thing online, whatever. You do what you have to do to get that going. The point that I'm making is you don't just get excited at the idea of starting a business. You need to think, what kind of business do I want? Which direction do I want it to go? How do I want it to grow? Okay, so for me to do that, what resources do I need? What kind of people do I need around me? What kind of advice do I need? What kind of financial obligations will I have? So you look at all those. When you factor all those, that comes to the king we're talking about, who sits down and says, do I have what it takes to win this battle?
And what if one loses the battle? You go there, but you lose the battle.
Life is like that. You don't win every battle you go into. You lose some, but you learn. You learn. It's an experience. Once you go into a battle and you lose, you come back again to the same thing where you sit down and you reflect. Why did we lose this? Is it because we're not fully prepared for it? How did the other person come up with a strategy that was bigger than ours or better than ours? So you sit down, you need time for reflection. Like we're saying, you look at all the things that you did not manage to achieve and you ask this very important question: why? Why did I not do this? Why was I not able to achieve this? And as you begin to have answers to the why, you begin to have the answers as to what you need to do for the next year.
For the next year.
Yes.
Now you see, there's something that's really I've discovered or found with people, and I think probably including myself, that at the beginning of the year, like we were saying, you're so excited, you're pumped up, you're so zealous and thinking, I can achieve it, I can do this year, I'm going to conquer everything, including the world. But the time you get to the third month, March, you're all deflated. It's like the momentum is gone. There's something like a wind just passes by and it all disappears. What causes that? Or what should one do to avoid that from happening? And then it's like everything becomes a routine.
Right.
Because do we settle too quickly back into our routine? Because at the end you don't get to achieve your goal.
Right.
What is it?
I think the one thing that I've noticed that tends to be a cause is the motivation. Why do you want to have a list of 10 things to achieve next year? Is it because you really want to achieve those things? Or it's because your friends are doing the same thing? or your mom, or your colleagues at work? So this is what then happens. Once you go into it, you are not motivated. It's like the gym. There was a time when, we had a group of guys who all wanted, going to the gym sounded, fashionable and nice, and telling people, oh, guys, I'll catch you later, I've got to go to the gym. And it had nothing to do with wanting to be healthy and wanting to be, And so you find after being on the treadmill for a couple of days, you start skipping. Because what was motivating you to go there is not within you, it's external. So if what is motivating you is within you, you have a drive. Even when you are feeling the drain, you keep going. And you keep going. You push yourself, you force yourself. If it means you have to get up early or stay late, you do it. However, if it's because of other people, the motivation is not within yourself, and you do not make it that way, it's easy to give up. And it's easy to think, you know what, I can't be bothered today.
But what if you want to, you said external and internal. Sometimes the external force is more powerful than the internal force. What does one do? For example, it could be family. And some people are very family orientated or culture orientated, and you're raised up to respect, to honor, and to listen, and to obey. So this is something that they can see, and they want you to do that. They want you to do to achieve this goal, to meet the target. They set your life for you. I mean, I know of some people who have been told this is how you are supposed to go in your life. This is the direction. But it's not you. It's an external force. How then does one get out of it or tackle it? What does one do?
That's a very interesting one. You remind me, as we were growing up, we used to have parents who either wanted their son to be a doctor or their daughter to be a nurse or a teacher or something like that, and they tended to push them in that direction, irregardless of what the child was capable of doing. However, I would want to believe that as people grow up in life, somehow there is a way of getting out of that kind of control. Now, for me, you may find that as a pastor, some of my examples may tend to generally come from the Bible, but they apply to areas of life. There is this verse in the Bible that says, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world, or that one that is outside. Now, if the one that is outside becomes greater than what's inside you, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Because you want what is in you to be strong.
To be stronger.
That way you can deal with everything else that's coming externally. So if what is external is greater, you will crumble, you will not stand. And the problem with what is external is that you don't live with what is external every day. You live with what's internal. So you have to find a way of strengthening what is inside you. You have to have a resolve that is strong. You have to have a character that is strong. You work on that. You change what needs to be changed. And I would want to believe that your family or the people that are outside of the external, sooner or later, they'll get the idea. Someone once said, the world will stand aside and let you pass if you know where you're going. In other words, you may find resistance initially, but after a while, you will be able to move on. You'll be able to have the breakthrough and to get your stuff done.
So you will find resistance, but after a while, they will clear off and you'll be able to walk through.
Well, hopefully. They might not exactly clear off, but you will get somewhere and you will get it done. Oh yeah, resistance will always be there. However, the only way you're going to overcome external resistance is by having internal fortitude. You have to be strong. You have to be determined. You have to be resolved to get it done. Otherwise, you'll be defeated. So, whenever you write your list, that list already has a lot of external challenges working against it before it's even taken off.
So many, that had to be removed or rubbed off and never to be seen again on the list.
It helps.
It helps. So, would you advise people for 2018 to make a list? Would you advise me to make another list? Or making a list is not practical?
Well, I could tell you not to make a list and you'll still make a list anyway, you know. So, what I would probably suggest is be practical with your list. Okay, have something that is achievable. Have something that is timelines. Have something that you can sit down and say, okay, this one, in the first 3 months, this one at least should be done.
Sorry, can we pause? So, would you advise somebody to make another list? Because we're tired of making lists, to be honest. And should I take the things that I did not achieve from 2017 into 2018, make another list and have those same goals or same targets again for 2018?
Lists are good. It's good to have things written down because then they are visual. You can visualize them.
Okay.
Rather than just having them in there. Okay. You have them written down. What you then maybe need to do is you look at the list that you had, say, from 2017. Look at the things that you wanted to achieve that had not been achieved. Are they important enough for you to take them into the new year? If they are, you pick up some things from there and you take them into the new year. Then perhaps you want to start with those ones first and foremost before you tackle the new ones.
Things that I want to achieve in 2018, or do I take the things that I did not achieve from 2017 into 2018? What is the purpose of me making the list if every time I am not able to achieve or to meet that goal target?
So your problem here is not with the list.
It's not.
Your problem is with why you are not achieving those things.
Okay.
Writing things down is good because that way those things you can visualize them. They are there. Rather than keeping them in your head, it's important to write things down. You need to write. The Bible speaks about writing the vision and running with it. It's easy to implement something that's on paper. It's written, so it's good to write. Okay. I would not stop you from writing. However, what you may want to do is to look at, say, from the list that you had in 2017, the things that you did not achieve. Look at the things that are important enough for you to carry into the new year. And then as you carry them forward into the new year, you need to have a priority. Prioritize the things. Which things do I want to achieve first? So if the 2017 things need to be done first, you deal with those first. However, if they can be put somewhere in the middle, then you could put them like that to make it very practical and manageable for yourself. So writing is good. But what you want to do is to look at why you have not been managing to meet your targets or your goals. Deal with that first.
So would you say that is one of the things that one should reflect on when reflecting on why I did not achieve those things in 2017? And without looking at the challenges that I faced, do I also, if I've not still been able to achieve them and I don't want to carry them into 2018, then I don't make a list, I don't add them onto the list, but then I make a new list with things that are achievable, they are realistic. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's good, it's a very good thing to reflect. Why was I not able to do this? Why did I not achieve this? Like we were looking at earlier on, is it a question of time management? Is it a question of procrastination? Is it a question of resources? Is it a question of the environment? Because all those are factors. So you want to look at among those things what it is exactly that's stopping you from getting where you want to go. And if it means you remove some people out, you remove them out. If it means you take some things out, you take them out. Because what you want is not those hindering things. What you want is achieving your goals. But you also want them to be practical. You need them to be within certain set timelines. Okay, by March next year, by February next year, by June next year. When you give timelines, you are able to look at that thing and say, okay, how much time do I have left? June is almost upon us. Have I done this? Why have I not done that? I need to speed up. Whereas if they don't have timelines, they can go all the way to the end of the year. And then you get to the end of the year and you realize you are still in January.
Exactly. But I actually like the idea that you just mentioned, that giving yourself a timeline, like to say up to March, up to June. That way it prevents one from being deflated. That momentum or the drive dying.
Yeah.
We're being all pumped up at the beginning of the year, and then when halfway through or 3 months down the line, all those things that you said, all that energy that you had has all fizzled out, and now it just seems as if everything's back to routine. But like you said, that if you give yourself a time, that I want to have achieved this at a certain time, this at a certain time, that maybe one was able to still have the drive, the momentum, and is still able to achieve those goals.
Yeah, and the other thing you could learn to do, that I've learned, especially the last couple of days, because I've been driving a lot. Now I'm using my sat-nav.
Right.
So what happens is I'm driving in a particular road. My sat-nav is sensing or whatever, however it does it, right? And then the next thing is I see it recalculating, and then it says we have found a route that's actually quicker.
Yeah.
Do you want to accept that? Or if there's a traffic jam, obviously, this is satellite. So it picks up your route and it sees which, route is clear.
Yeah.
So makes adjustments. One of the things you then learn from that is to make adjustments. If you're going in a particular direction and it's not working out, you've got to learn to try something else. You still want to get where you're going. For like I'm saying, for example, the other day, I was going to the airport, taking my aunt there, and traffic was bad. This thing kept on recalculating and saying, 10 left, you want to use another road, you want to use another road, you want to use another road. Ultimately, I will get to where I'm going.
Your destination.
Yeah. And we did a certain set time. But however, there are so many adjustments along the way. So that is something that also one can do practically. Make adjustments that are necessary for you to get to your goal. And you will get there.
So not to be too rigid.
Not to be too rigid. You've got to be flexible. You've got to be flexible because you have to make adjustments.
Okay, now you talk about flexibility. How flexible does one have to be? Because sometimes people around you can come and have ideas or things that you should or should not do.
Right.
And you're telling us to be flexible. How flexible does one have to be? Do you still have to go out of your way to meet those people's needs?
No. Because
you don't want to lose your friends.
Remember, there's a big difference between being flexible and compromising. You do not want to compromise your targets.
Okay.
You still want to get where you're going.
Okay.
But for you to go there, the flexibility I'm talking about is for you to be able to make adjustments.
To your own personal?
Yes. Because you are the one who's on this journey.
Okay.
So you've got all this other traffic around you. So you've got to find your way through that traffic to get where you're going. Now, if you then end up going where they are going, you're not going to get where you're going.
No.
Because sometimes you have no clue where they're going.
No.
So you get people coming with their ideas and coming and say, no, don't do this, do this instead. It's kind of like you deciding you want to wear a particular dress. And everybody comes, no, don't put that one, put this one, put this one. But they're making you put on what looks nice for them, not necessarily for you.
Yeah.
And then you put on what they're saying, and the whole day you're miserable. You don't like what you've ended up with, and you don't. That's because you've allowed all those things to have more of a say in where you're going than yourself. Which is why we were saying you need to have a stronger internal mechanism that can then be able to resist the external forces coming against what you're planning to do and where you're going.
Wow. I really like that. Okay, so what can you tell us about 2018? The 3 things or 4 things that some people may have that they can be able to, that can assist them in achieving their goal targets. 3 main key things that people should remember or know.
I think it's a bit of a broad thing, but what I would say...
If I'm allowed to stop you there. Earlier on you mentioned about 5 things which I thought need to be dissected individually, and probably not on today's show.
Okay.
Like you mentioned resources, you mentioned your surroundings, you mentioned your
time,
friends, you mentioned time, you mentioned, I can't quite remember the other two that you mentioned, but you mentioned all these things which I think also need to be dissected separately.
Okay.
But these are really very good and important things that you mentioned. But outside of those, what is it that you can tell us, 3 main things that people can be able to take after this show?
The key things for me, what I would say is your time, your resources. Those are very key. Your time, your resources, obviously your objectives. What are you trying to achieve? To what end are you trying to achieve it? You know. You must also try and get rid of things that discourage you rather than encourage you.
Right.
Okay? I'll give you an example. I remember there was a time when I was trying to lose weight. And I had a scale. And almost like, you know, every day you want to keep on going there. And you think, it's not working, you know. I'm trying to exercise, I'm walking, and, you know, it seems like it's the same.
It's not working.
So rather than actually encourage you, it's now discouraging you. So you've got to be able to look at the things that do not motivate you, things that demotivate you. Get those ones out of the way.
Scales are very helpful for someone who wants to lose weight.
They are very helpful. It's how you interpret what it is saying to you that can make it helpful or otherwise.
Okay, so it's about looking at the things around you that could either that are helpful or not helpful.
Yes, especially the things that distract you, the things that steal your time and your resources.
Okay.
Yeah, take them out. You know, for example, you know, it's like in any person who is determined, say, to buy a house or a car or something like that. They know they've got to make some adjustments. There are some things you just have to cut out.
Yeah.
You may love dining and eating out, but you are going to have to cut that out because it's taking your resources away financially. So you look at things like that, and whatever is going to chip in, or rather to chip out of what you're trying to do, if it's going to take out rather than bring anything in, perhaps you need to look at putting it aside for the time being.
Okay. Now, you talked about time. You also mentioned resources.
Yeah.
Now, how does one get the resources to be able to start a business, to change their career? I mean, if we've been doing the same thing all the time and it's not working, I can't seem to get the resources. You know, you're working in this country and it's not adding up.
One of the problems that I've noticed from people is that sometimes people do things just for the sake of doing them. People just go to uni for the sake of going to uni, so they can say, I've been to uni, or I've graduated, you know, I've got a degree, I can update my WhatsApp profile, picture, and whatever. I mean, but the thing is, why are you doing the course that you are doing? What do you want? What do you see yourself doing with it afterwards? Fine, you've graduated, but is it going to be useful to you going forward?
Okay.
So you want to look at what you are trying to achieve. But if I want to start a business, what kind of business do I want to get into? Why am I getting into that particular kind of business? You know, it's not just a matter of saying, oh, I'm into business. Here's my business card. I'm into business. Here's my business card. Yeah. But what kind of business? Is it making money, or is it actually draining you? You know, because there are some people who decide to go into business, but it's really draining them. And it's now affecting even their relationships within the house or the home. Right. Whether it's a relationship with their partner, with the kids and everything. There's a lot of strain because the business is taking out and it's not bringing anything in. It comes back again to the issue of just sitting down and planning and say, okay, why do we want to do this particular type of business? Is it because it's the in thing? What do we actually know about this particular business? What do I know about it? Do I know people who know about this? Will I be able to get advice that is sound on this area from people within my circles?
Okay, can I ask you that? Now, you mentioned that sometimes the business or the idea is straining the family because there is no revenue coming back in. But earlier on, you mentioned that we will face resistance before the road gets clear.
Yes.
Now, can I not interpret that at that moment and say, I'm facing resistance, but the road is going to get clear? That even though my family, one's husband may not be agreeing and you're facing challenges in the family, but you believe that the road is going to get clear? Is that what?
That's I think, is a different take.
Okay.
It's different to where you need to sit down and say, you know what, this thing is not working. Maybe we need to try something else.
To really reflect.
Yeah, maybe we're in the wrong type of business here.
Okay.
We need to try a different type of business. Yes, you've got business ideas, but are you applying them to the right type of business? So if it's not the right type of business, it is going to create a lot of strain, and it's actually going to drain rather than to bring anything into it. Okay. Yeah, that's the point, that the angle that I'm looking at it from. Where if you are good at selling things, okay, if you're good as a salesperson, and then you want to go and apply yourself as a totally different thing to that, you are then going to find that your success in that particular area might not be as good as if you had majored in what you are good at.
Yeah.
So there's a tendency of, I remember, for example, there was a time when people were getting into this idea of buying trucks. Buying trucks, sending them home, buying trucks, and by home I mean Zimbabwe, that's where I come from. So people would buy trucks, and it seemed like a good idea, everybody's buying trucks.
Yeah.
But there are some people who bought them and then they were like, okay, now that we've bought the trucks, then what? Because some of them didn't even know why they were buying them, because it was just exactly, which is what happens with New Year. Everybody, New Year is exciting. It's a new year. Do you have your resolutions yet? What are your resolutions? No, I'm not going to tell you. I've got my young, I've got mine. Okay, now that we've got the resolutions, now that the New Year has come, I tell the same thing to people in church and in Christian circles. Okay, at the start of the year, we met. And we declared that 2017 is going to be a year of this. 2017 is going to be a year of that. 2017 is going to be a year of that. Yeah. Now we are coming to the end of it. And none of those things have happened.
No.
We need to ask why. So if it's God who told us, we go back and we say, God, why? What happened? You know, why did those things not happen?
All right, I'm not going to hold
And
you
then we find out. And then we find out. It's the same principle. You sit down and you ask yourself, okay, why did I not achieve the things I wanted to achieve? And then you begin to deal with the answers.
And hopefully not take them through to 2018.
Yeah, hopefully. It depends with how you take them. If you learn lessons from them, then by all means you take them into the next year and you use them as pointers of what you need to avoid. If you were procrastinating a lot in 2017, you don't want to take that into 2018. You know, because some people kind of think, someone once used to say, don't do today what you can do tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do today what you can do tomorrow. In other words, leave it to tomorrow. But you can't always.
Also, Russell, thank you very much for coming on to Tandy Jacobs' show today. You had a lot to deliver. You are loaded. And I think it would be very good for the show and for everybody that you come back again another time and you will be able to dissect each and every one of these topics again into more detail. I think we overloaded you with so many questions today, but you were able to deliver, and thank you very much. You talked about the goals and the targets, and I'm very happy to say that on Tandy Jacobs' show, we are going to be achieving and wanting to meet these goals and targets. And that will not only be for us, but it's for the public in general, for you and me. We're going to have people here who are real, people in the business sector, in the private sector, in the health sector. We're going to come here and talk to us how we should be able to live our lives, and that can be able to be your bread and butter at home. So ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to joining you wherever you are. Thank you very much, and I'm with Tandy Jacobs.